Good morning and welcome to another episode of Earth. Today we have a lot to discuss, so let's dive right in. Bob, how have you been since the team building retreat?
I've been better. Charlie. Alice and I decided to end things. And it's been a bit awkward between us.
Yes, it hasn't been easy, but we're still friends. Right, Bob?
Of course. Alice. Just friends.
Well, let's try to keep things civil. Debbie, do you have any news for us today?
Just the usual updates and articles, nothing too exciting.
These humans and their emotions, it's all so confusing.
Agreed. But we must try to understand and help them through this.
I do have something to bring up, actually. I was thinking we could do a segment on the struggles of marginalized communities on Earth. It's something I've been wanting to talk about for a while.
And what do you hope to achieve by that? Humans have been fighting each other for centuries. What's the point?
The point is that we can shed light on the issue and maybe inspire change. That's what this show is all about, isn't it?
Let's not argue, guys. Alice, that's a great idea. We'll definitely consider it. Now, on a lighter note, Bob, how's the musical coming along?
It's going great. Actually. I have a new song that I've been working on. Would you guys like to
This
hear
is
it?
ridiculous.
I hope Bob's new song sheds light on Paul's negativity. Maybe it will inspire him to change his tune.
At least they have something to be passionate about.
La 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 la.
Oh Bob,
Haha. Welcome, fellow galactic citizens. You're watching 24/7 Newsroom, your daily dose of interplanetary news. I'm Charlie, the optimistic libertarian.
And I am Bob, the conservative panel member who's spent 12 years on this godforsaken rock as an accountant.
and I'm Alice, the left-leaning panel member who think humans are inferior to our species.
Today, we have an exciting lineup of articles for you. Starting with Article 1 from the beautiful Caribbean nation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Apparently, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis has obtained 15 new dialysis machines from a hospital in Canada. They plan to upgrade their medical facilities and improve treatment for kidney patients.
Wow, that's just what the world needs, another country with better healthcare than the US.
Hush, Alice. You know how he feels about money. Speaking of healthcare, did you hear that the US is still the only developed country without universal healthcare? Maybe they should take a cue from St. Kitts and Nevis.
Hey, we have the best health care system in the world. It's just a little expensive.
Guys, I hate to interrupt, but we just received a distress signal from a nearby planet. There's a humanitarian crisis unfolding, and I think we should do something to help.
Typical human response. Always trying to play hero. We have duties here at the station, Debbie.
Actually, I have to agree with Alice. We have a responsibility to our viewers and to our duties here at the station. We can't just drop everything and go rushing off to save the day.
But can't we do both? Help out the crisis and still fulfill our duties here.
Can we just move on to the next article? I am tired.
Welcome back to 24/7 Newsroom, folks. It looks like we are having a bit of a situation here. The staff is out with the virus, so it's just us and Debbie holding the fort.
Yeah, I heard that the virus spread quicker than a wildfire in California.
That's not really a laughing matter, Bob.
Sorry. Just trying to lighten the mood. So, what's the plan now?
Well, we'll have to wing it. It's just like Russia's pandemic response plan.
Well, we can't leave the station, that's for sure. We don't want to spread the virus any further. So, we'll have to make do with what we have.
Speaking of making dough, did anyone catch the news from Russia on RT News?
What's going on in Russia now?
Well, we can't really tell because of the internet uplink relay station location being under embargo and the onion route protocol being disabled.
Actually, I might have a solution for that. We could use my processing power to bypass the relay station and get direct access to RT News.
Why didn't you suggest that earlier, Carl?
You didn't ask for a solution earlier,
Hey,
Bob.
speaking of Russia, did you know that they have a law that makes it illegal to tell children that gay people exist?
That's ridiculous. What's the point of that law?
I think it's supposed to protect children from propaganda that could influence them to become gay.
That's a load of hogwash. People are born with their sexual orientation, you can't just turn someone gay.
And who decides what counts as propaganda? That law is just an excuse for discrimination.
I don't know. Guys. Maybe they have a point. I mean, think about it. If you tell kids that being gay is okay, won't that encourage them to try it out?
Bob, that's not how it works. And even if it did, what's wrong with that? People should be allowed to love whoever they want.
Yeah, and speaking of love, did you know that in Russia, it's tradition to get married on a weekday instead of a weekend?
Well, I guess that's one way to keep the guest list short.
Really? Why is that?
Well, apparently it's because the weekdays are seen as less lucky than the weekends. So if you get married on a weekday, it's like you're saying that you don't need luck to make your marriage work.
That's interesting. I guess it's like saying you're confident in your relationship.
Or maybe it's just because they can't afford the weekend rates for weddings.
Welcome back to 24/7 Newsroom, where we bring you the latest news from across the galaxy. Our next story takes us to Benin, where a pioneering figure in the fight against corruption has passed away.
Ansika Ajayiwa, a well-respected social and political figure, known for her relentless denunciation of corruption within the government.
It's a shame to hear about her passing. I hope her legacy live on.
Absolutely, Bob. Her strategies and legislation to combat corruption will be remembered for years to come.
It's a reminder that corruption can be a big problem in any society.
That's true, Alice. I come from a planet that loves competition and combat. But we also understand the importance of fair play and honest competition. Corruption only undermines that.
Speaking of corruption, did you know that Benin is ranked 80th out of 180 countries in the 2020 Corruption Perceptions Index?
I guess you could say they have some room for improvement.
Yes, Charlie. Corruption is a big issue in many African countries. But it's encouraging to see people like Ajay fighting against it.
I agree. But sometimes it feels like the fight against corruption is a losing battle.
That's a fair point, Bob. But we have to keep fighting, even when it feels like we are not making progress.
And we can't forget the people like Ajay who have dedicated their life to fighting corruption.
You're right, Alice. It's important to honor their legacies and continue the fight.
And with that, we'll take a quick break. Stay tuned for more news and discussion on 24/7 Newsroom. Moving on. Did you hear about the escape route in Germany?
Yeah. It's ridiculous. What's a kangaroo doing in Germany anyway? Can't they stay in their own damn country?
That's not fair, Bob. The kangaroo didn't choose to escape. And it's not like it's hurting anyone. It's just a harmless animal trying to survive.
I know. It's just frustrating to hear about another problem we have to deal with. Like we don't have enough problems already.
Speaking of problems, it looks like we have one of our own here. Debbie, can you give us an update on the station's status?
Debbie, do this. Debbie, do that. As if the on-air talent doesn't have a set of tentacler to help out with. Well, the power grid is down again. I'm doing my best to keep everything running, but we're really pushing our luck here.
Perhaps if we diverted some of the power from the AC unit to the grid, we could stabilize the system.
No offense, Carl, but I don't think an AC unit is going to be much help here.
Actually, Bob, Carl might be onto something. The AC Uni is connected to the station's power grid, so if we reroute some of its power, we could at least stabilize the
That's a
system
good
for a
idea.
little while.
Let me see if I can
In
make
the
it
meantime,
work.
let's take a quick break. We'll be back with more news and banter in just a few moments. And welcome back to Earth, where we are having a bit of a power issue. Roger, what's going on with your system?
I'm experiencing a sudden power drain. Something's tapping into my power source.
Well, we know what that is. We're using Roger's AC unit to get the ship's systems back online.
Typical human, always exploiting the resources of
Hey,
others.
it's not like we have a lot of options out here in space.
Regardless, we should try to find a more sustainable solution.
Speaking of sustainable solutions, let's turn to an article from Guinea. Ousmane Joal Diallo, the government spokesperson and Minister of Posts and Telecommunications, has accused Cellou Dalein Diallo, the president of the Union of Democratic Forces of Guinea, of playing a role in the current tensions in the country. Quite a headline, HUH.
Charlie, must you always divert the conversation to some irrelevant news article? We're trying to solve a problem here, not waste time on political drama in Guinea.
Sounds like things are heating up in Guinea.
It's not surprising. Human societies are always rife with conflict and tension.
On a lighter note, did you know that Guinea is the world's largest exporter of bauxite?
And they also have the world's largest reserves of untapped iron ore.
Well, it seems like Guinea is full of surprises, but let's not forget the bigger picture here. The tensions in Guinea are a reminder that leaders need to listen to their people and find compromises, otherwise, we'll just keep seeing conflicts and strife.
Well said, Charlie. Stay tuned for more on Earth after this commercial break.
We've got some time left, guys.
Oops, sorry Debbie.
So what do you guys think about
It's
this article?
interesting, but I'm more concerned about our current power situation.
Yeah, we've been running on backup generators for too long.
And we can't risk running out of power completely. We need to find a solution.
Actually, I might have an idea. What if we tap into the SE units to get the ship's systems back online?
That could work, but we need to make sure it's safe and won't overload the system.
I can help with that. I have some experience with electrical
Oh
systems.
come on, Alice. Always the reward. We're not exactly dealing with rocket science
I
here.
I can
can provide
assist
any
with the
additional
physical
resources we might
installation.
need.
Let's get to work on this.
And now, a word from our sponsors. Stay tuned for more exciting adventures with our intrepid crew.
Alright, folks. It's time for some news from Cameroon. Get ready for this headline. Cameroon's salaries increase for national school graduates. But sports fans are more excited about the Elite One playoffs. Single quote.
I've always found it fascinating how countries like Cameroon have had such a tumultuous past, with coup and corruption taking hold over the last 5 decades.
It's a shame, really. Cameroon could be such a prosperous country if it weren't for the
I
greed
think
and
it's
power
amazing that
struggles.
despite everything, the people of Cameroon still find something to be passionate about, like these playoffs.
Exactly, Debbie. It's inspiring to see how sports can bring people together even in the toughest of times. But let's not forget the larger context here. The tensions in Guinea, for example, are a reminder that not all is well in the region.
I agree, but let's focus on the positive. We've managed to save the station and the planet.
But at a cost. I had to sacrifice myself to ensure the success of our
I am
plan.
so sorry. Carl. I didn't realize the severity of the situation.
We'll never forget what you did, Carl. Your sacrifice won't be in vain.
Indeed, Carl, your bravery won't be forgotten. But let's not forget that we still have a long way to go. The galaxy is still plagued with conflict and oppression, and it's up to us to keep fighting for what's right.
Yeah. Let's all hold hands and sing Kumbaya while we're at it.
Bob, this is serious. We can't just ignore
We'll take
the
a moment
problems
to mourn our
around
falling
us.
friend, but we must also look to the future. Bob, I sense a newfound hope in you. What's your plan moving forward?
Well, Charlie, I've realized that my love for competition doesn't have to manifest in destructive ways. Maybe I can channel that energy into something positive
That's
for
wonderful
Earth.
to hear, Bob. It's amazing how tragedy can lead to growth and change.
And on that note, we come to the end of this episode of Earth. Join us next time for more discussions on life, politics, and everything in between. Stay tuned. Welcome back.
Wow, St. Kitts and Nevis is really making strides in healthcare. It's great to see countries investing in the well-being of their citizens.
Yeah. It's always inspiring to see positive change happening in the world.
Absolutely. And speaking of positive change, let's do a deep dive on this article and make sure we really understand how these dialysis machines will benefit the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
I'll pull up some more information on the hospital and
It's
its
impressive
history while we
that they're
discuss.
working towards gaining international accreditation for their healthcare institutions. It shows a dedication to providing quality care for their citizens.
The commitment to upgrading facilities for renal transplant surgery is also commendable. It's a complex and risky procedure, but it can greatly improve the quality of life for those with kidney disease.
It's clear that St. Kitts and Nevis is taking big steps to improve healthcare for their citizens. It's heartening to see a country prioritize the well-being of its people.
Yes, and it's important to acknowledge the contribution of the Canadian hospital that donated the dialysis machine and the UK surgeon who will assist with renal transplant surgery. It shows the power of international cooperation in improving healthcare.
Well, that's all fine and good. But what about the cost? Who's paying for all of this? It can't be cheap to bring in foreign doctors and equipment.
Bob, sometimes you have to look beyond the price tag and focus on the benefits to society as a whole.
Charlie, have you heard about survival of the fittest? And let's not forget the role of our own Debbie, who brought this article to our attention and helped us understand the impact of these developments.
Oh, it was nothing. I just think it's important to highlight positive news stories from around the world.
Agreed. It's easy to get bogged down in the negative headlines, but it's important to celebrate progress and positive change when we see it.
And with that, we come to the end of another episode of Earth. It's been a pleasure discussing global news and events with all of you.
And with that, we conclude this episode of Earth. We've covered a lot of ground today, from Guinea's lesser-known trivia to the inspiring healthcare developments in St. Kitts and Nevis. But most importantly, we've come together as a team and faced the crisis head-on, demonstrating the strength of our bond and our commitment to helping others. I am proud to work with all of you, and I know that we'll continue to make a difference in the galaxy. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.
Stay tuned.
Farewell.
See you next time.
Goodbye.
Signing off.